I'm Richie Pope. I'm an illustrator, cartoonist. I do stuff for publications like New York Times, New Yorker, and I do comics. A lot of stuff involving identity and like body image. I think there was like an Eleanor Davis quote where she says something like, comics is kind of like giving somebody like a piece of you. And it feels like that. It feels like you put some of yourself in a book and you're like, here's who I am.
My name is Greg Ruth. I work in comics and books and children's books. I didn't really read comics until I was about 17, and a good friend of mine who's a screenwriter now, handed me a copy of Frank Miller's Dark Knight and Watchmen and said, things are changing. This is a medium that's got a real explosive thing happening right now. And the idea of being able to use pictures to elucidate a story to me was really exciting, and for me was utterly new, even though it had been going on for 100 years. While I'd already kind of accidentally stumbled into the room, I discovered that the room had been there a long time and I had a lot of catching up to do.
My name is Blutch. I'm a cartoonist and I'm an artist, and I'm drawing for maybe 40 years. What is interesting in comics, it's this relationship between writing and drawing. Drawing and writing. It's a system of exchange between both, and that's very exciting. I never finish with it, to explore that. I'm just starting,
I'm Jennifer Hayden, and I write and draw autobiographical indie comics. I grew up always drawing and always writing poetry, and I had trouble as an adult deciding whether to be a writer or an artist. And after studying art history in college, I became a writer for several years and wasn't any good at it. So I began to go back to drawing and did children's book illustration when my kids were born. And after that, a few years after that, I got breast cancer. And that was when I discovered what graphic novels were. I hadn't even known about them, though I had read comics when I was a kid. When I found them, I found that this was the way I definitely wanted to tell my breast cancer story. So I dove in. Graphic novels, comics were the best combination of writing and drawing that I could find, and it was the way for me to tell my stories.
I'm Alan Spiegel. My company's called Alan Spiegel Fine Arts, and I'm an artist rep. The artists that I work with tend to want to draw, paint, write about things that interest them. So although we entered the comic book medium when it was mainly a superhero genre, we've moved away from there. I think the people working within any given industry tend to create the climate in that industry. So you may enter it at one point when people are busy doing a certain genre, a certain thing, but then if you're truly a creative person and have something to say, you can convince the industry to take a left turn or a right turn, straight up, straight down, and present the stories that you want to tell to the people that you want to read them.
Worship me!